So I'm on OBS. So the difficulty is anybody who's watching your live stream, we're not able to see the excellent screen that I prepared. And anybody in the Twitter space, they're going to, I think they're going to be able to hear us. They're probably going to hear us, but they were not able to see what we have shared on the screen.
Well, we'll just do the best we can.
Yeah, so yeah, we can get started. And I have this fancy monitor and a fancy program. Actually, I have a schedule. I have shared to you. I have a schedule to want to share with you. So I already shared with you, right? So the idea is 6 years. Yesterday I tweeted, like yesterday, 6 years ago, I just came out with the name Arcblock. So today we have the live show. I think it's a great timing. I really want to kind of use a little bit moment to just kind of review how we get the name, have the story of how we formed Arcblock. And the next up, I'm planning to have a conversation with you. So we have on this kind of interview on and off for a while, right? It's almost 1 year, or actually, I think it's more than 1 year now.
Yeah.
And I basically see you grew up from somebody is a crypto trader to actually a serious builder, right? You build your applications, you experience a lot. I think you probably have a lot to say. So how to just to kind of from a trader, from just to buy some tokens to create your own applications, right? And then next up, I am planning to talk about what we are working on Arcblock. I'm planning to make this like as a routine. So for every live stream, I'm going to brief and also demo a few things that the team are actually creating. So people in the community, they will have a sneak peek of what we did, right? And also we're going to have an announcement for the next live stream, as I'm planning to. I'm just to get started. I'm still very new to this. So not like you get organized.
I think more of this should be like, I feel like this should be the future of what everything should be like. I think a lot of people want to see the admin, or they want to have a conversation, or, it's always a big journey from start to finish. I mean, you guys have been around for quite a while now. We definitely got to, well, before I forget, you said that Arcblock, before it became Arcblock, there was a different name to it. I wanted to ask about that. I just don't want to forget about it.
That's called a semantic chain. Semantic in a semantic and chain. Semantic is a very academic word. It sometimes is related to natural language processing and the chain, right? Chain, blockchain. So at the time, the idea of that time, the focus is try to build a collaborative knowledge sharing platform. So it's more focused on the application side. So that's why we came out with called a semantic chain. It sounds very cool from the academic world, because everybody who in the research.
I still think it's a great name, but it's a lot of us, whenever we hear you talk and we hear you talk about, the technology that Arcblock is, we're always so impressed, where we're like, man, this guy is like one of the most super advanced people we know. And so it's always funny whenever we're watching you, it's like, all right, how is Robert going to convey the real message here, right? And it's kind of tough for people to dig in a little bit more when they're trying to research the technology behind a project, instead of just, it's just a name. It's always good to check into the technology. And that's kind of what really differentiates you guys, because you guys are more like middleware.
Yeah, so after we turned to the Arcblock, it's kind of a pivot, right? So I think I shared this story before. Is because in the beginning, Arcblock, the project Arcblock, eventually turned name into Arcblock. We're not planning to build a platform or any kind of end-layer technology. The idea is we want to build a application. So the purpose of the application is try to let everybody be able to build a knowledge base. And then this knowledge base, because when you build a knowledge base, sometimes you don't, people are intent to hoarding information, but not sharing knowledge, right? So why people do not want to share knowledge, because there's no incentive, right? So at that time, I really get inspired by the Ethereum and the smart contract, and thinking that's a great, infrastructure to use for this application. So when people exchange knowledge, right, so they can pay some kind of crypto tokens to be able to get rewarded by sharing the knowledge. If you create the knowledge, if you curate the knowledge, and you are happy to share, and then you can gain tokens, right? So that's the whole idea why I get into the blockchain technology, especially for Ethereum, right? Mm-hmm. So today is also a very interesting day. Is like 15 years ago, Satoshi published Bitcoin's white paper, right? So that's year 2008. Year 2008 October. So the Bitcoin white paper was first ever come into being. Let people know. Everybody know that, right? So I think I tried Bitcoin mining in year 2009. That's about like 10 months later. So at that moment, I just tell somebody, because in my circles I read quite a few of my Twitter friends who are tweeting, say, "Oh, I really get impressed at my first sight to see the Bitcoin white papers." A bunch of guys, I immediately see the world is changing. But actually, I'm honest. I say no. The first time when I see that white paper, I think it's dumb, right? I think it's dumb. I completely not understand the value of the Bitcoin. But I'm a geek, and I'm very interested in the new technology. So I download the software and try to mine a few Bitcoins and experiment a few days, and I think, okay, this is a very cool idea. This is actually the first time people solve the problem that you can actually do this kind of secured peer-to-peer money, payment without a middleman, without a centralized service. But does this has any value? Does this Bitcoin, become anything value? I think it's like a joke, right? So I say, okay, I'm among those people. I'm probably only people that are very short-sighted. Yeah. But I do get struck immediately by Ethereum vision, because Ethereum's vision is about building decentralized applications on top of that. So at that point, like it's around the year 2017, beginning of 2017, I'm thinking, oh, Ethereum is a perfect infrastructure to enable this kind of a tokenization for knowledge exchange, which is going to be very important, for us to build this application. I call that collaborative knowledge network. So I give this name called a semantic chain. But eventually the story turned out to be the Ethereum's vision is great at that time, but to develop anything on Ethereum is terrible. It's like horrible experience. Yeah. To be able to get something working, I have to build a lot of frameworks. I have to build, you will see that my pattern is every time I always start from application. I'm not looking for framework or kind of a library operating system. I'm always looking for some very, very specific applications. But when I build applications, I'm kind of want to, I don't want to, write a lot of stupid code and spend a lot of time to write those code. I really want some kind of a very nice reusable library that can be used, right? So in October, at that time I came back to China, because at that time China is actually a center of fundraising, especially anything related to the blockchain. You must go to China at that time. So October, I went back to China. I want to raise some fund for my collaborative knowledge network, right? So at the time, I have a prototype working, and also have this library working on the Ethereum network, and it can barely working, but it actually works, right? So when I demonstrate this to a few of the investors and the VCs, and I receive tremendous feedback, right? It's a very interesting feedback. The feedback is nobody interested in the knowledge network, right? They say it's basically say it's dumped, right? Nobody need to use it, right? But everybody who see my whole demo are super excited about the library that we built on Ethereum, because we can very easily to say, hey, we can build application on that. So one of the VC who is actually he eventually become one of my friends. He basically talked to me, say, hey, Robert, why do you want to build a skyscraper on the sands, right? That's it. So right now, the whole crypto, the whole blockchain is based like a sands, right? So, but you want to build something on top of the sand to build a skyscraper, to build this knowledge sharing, but you cannot build something on the sand, right? However, the framework you build, that sounds super interesting, because he basically at the time, he said, I have like 10 different portfolios. If you tell them, they will immediately want to use it, because everybody hit the same issue you have. That's year 17, right? So at the time, actually, I almost like 1 week away from leaving China for that fundraising trip. I see around 20 different VCs, and none of them interested in my project, and none of them going to fund, right? Only this VC guy, he said that he gave me some suggestions, say, hey, why not pivot? Just to turn your framework into some kind of building blocks that everybody going to need. But for the knowledge network, only very few people will realize that is valuable. So, and then he gave me an introduction to somebody who in Beijing, and then leave me like 3 days. He say, why not lock yourself into one of the hotels and completely rewrite your deck. And you only focus on building, say, you only show the framework that you build, not anything about the knowledge network or anything. I think that's one of the best advice I heard, and it turned out I locked myself in a hotel for a few days, and I came up with write a slide deck. Actually, I'm projecting the. See if I can see. Everybody can see my screen. Yes, unfortunately, people watching your channel were not able to see, but right now in Arcblock channel, so I'm projecting one of the blog. Actually, in my personal blog, I write the story that 6 years ago I locked myself in a hotel room, and this is actually a very nice hotel. It has a lounge, and nobody. So it seemed that I'm the only person in that lounge. Stayed for a few days. The benefit in Asian hotels is the lounge service is super, right? You have food, you have coffee, you have unlimited coffee, and it's open 24 hours. I just stay there, keep drinking coffee, and then I turn my architect into something new, right? And I write a new slide deck, and then I need to get a name. So then I suddenly get the idea of the Arcblock. So actually, that's how I think. Okay, this name sounds great, and let me look at if I have a domain name. So fortunately I have the domain name. Originally the idea planned to be Arcblock, ARCH block, because I'm thinking, okay, we're building like an architect, right? So Archy, ARCH. So I'm thinking the idea is called ARCH block, Arcblock. But archblock.com is already registered. Somebody already take it. I'm thinking, okay, I definitely need to find something that I have .com, .io, all those names. So I try to remove a few things, remove the H. I get Arcblock, and then find perfect. This name sounds better, right? It looks better and it sounds better, and so that's how I got the Arcblock.
Like center of the universe going on right there. Well, you know what? For some of the new people that don't know Arcblock or haven't, we've actually been, fans of Arcblock for, I want to say, we've been. at least with you guys, I would say over a year now, because we didn't know about you until you popped up on Coinbase. So like when I saw you guys and I just dug into it, I was just like, oh wow, this is actually an awesome technology. For the people that are new, can you tell us about how do you say it? It's like I forget how you say it. It's like composites. That's how you pronounce it, right? Where the apps.
You mean composable, right? You mean the composability?
Yeah, that's the word. I was like composability. Yeah. Can you talk to people that they're maybe new to Arcblock? Can we go into how you could customize apps and for tools and whatever you might need? You could build in any language. Can we go over stuff like that for people that are new?
Yeah, awesome. So actually right now, so anybody who are in our blog stream, you can actually see one of the diagram that I'm showing you. So this is the very first diagram of the Arcblock platform when it's called Arcblock. So I basically rewrite the frameworks and turn that into a more clear, some kind of more clear layers of what the building block it is, right? So as you can see, this diagram there's a lot of names that you are not very familiar with. For example, I call it OCA, which is Open Chain Access. But we turned out change that into called OCAP, Open Chain Access Protocol. But the first version is called Open Chain Access. So that's basically the idea. That idea is very original even before we turn into Arcblock. As I mentioned, that when we are trying to build applications, the first question coming to mind is what kind of blockchain do you use? Do you use Ethereum? Do you use Bitcoin, Lightning, or any kind of like a Hyperledger or any other blockchains? So as a developer, you always need to find out, you always need abstractions, right? You need something that I do not want to get locked into one technology. I can switch, right? That's how we came into this Open Chain Access Protocol. And on the top, we have this kind of modularized concept called a blocklet. So I believe the blocklet name came before Arcblock because a lot of people familiar with the computer probably know there's a lot of other name called applet. When the internet is just beginning, there's a lot of this kind of small program called applet. So let is something small, right? So when we building this, we have this idea, say, hey, when we are building things in the blockchain, you are not supposed to put a lot of data into it. And they're just a small program, small contract. So we get this name called a blocklet. So this architect is essentially I think is like 80% of this is still exactly reflecting what we're building right now. There are just a few things that we have changed the name. We have adding a few things. For example, the DID was not here. DID was actually added in year 2019. Is
the DID wallet multi-chain?
DID wallet is multi-chain. DID wallet is multi-chain. DID wallet support Arcblock blockchains, also support Solana, support Ethereum, and any Ethereum compatible blockchain. That's all in the DID wallet. And yeah.
So it's not just an ETH wallet. You could add a variety of different tokens in there. So that's definitely different there. I like how you can also build apps directly from the wallet itself. And that was one of the cool things, because I got to experiment with Blocklet. I got to make NFTs. I got to see how fast it was. It was a lot easier. There was a lot of different tools that you had to basically create a project I would say a lot faster than other applications. So that is awesome.
Yeah, like nobody else. I think so. This is how, as I mentioned, this is how we do things, and we want to build when we want to build a platform for the developers. Actually, we started from Open Chain Access Protocol, which seemed to be a very simple and a very straightforward idea at that point. Mm-hmm. But of course, we know if you build a full application, as you build the application yourself, you will find in the beginning, you might think, oh, it's easy. We always think, oh, this is easy case. We can build it. But once you build it, you find, oh, shoot, I need this. I need that, right? So end up when you build the full application, you find you actually need a lot of things. So when we started from building open chain access protocol, and then we realized that we need a better high performance blockchain, and then we realized that we need a decentralized identity. We need an identity. If we don't have identity fully decentralized, how could the whole system become decentralized, right? And then we come into the DID. And the wallet you mentioned, when we are in the beginning, we plan to use a MetaMask, but then we find the MetaMask is really locked into the Ethereum community. If you want to build something that is jump out of the Ethereum, there's no way you do it, right? So what to do? So let's build a DID wallet, right? So then we keep building, and now we have tons of different modules. And so right now, from the wallet, from the account, from the kind of secured kind of a multi-sig wallet, from a bridge, and to a lot of anything that we think that could be essential to building DApps. We're going to building these building blocks and to add that kind of a jigsaw to the whole piece. Of course, the way to building this is going to be very much time consuming. It takes a long time. It also takes a lot of effort to architect the whole things. Otherwise, you have a lot of components, but they're not going to work together, right? The word you mentioned, composable. Composable is a word very easy to say, but it's really, really hard to do.
Well, the one thing I like about the way I see it is like Legos. If you need something built out, then you don't need to take apart the whole thing. You could just take off that piece that you need, and then attach it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I like about how customizable it could be at the whim of you just running into an issue. If you run into a barrier and you need a particular tool created, it's there to tweak. It doesn't mean that you got to rewrite the whole thing. You could just take the piece off that you don't need and then reattach whatever, template code you got set up, so that's going to, I would say expedite the building time, but also save a lot of time from, needing so many people. Because if you could just do it with just one piece at a time, then, you can kind of customize it as you grow as a token or as you grow in use case. So that's going to be, I would say it really is just going to take more builders.
Yeah. I think try to build an application platform. You will find, it's basically as you just mentioned, right? So some of the features that sounds to be very simple and very straightforward, but when you want to build it, you have to build it. It's not free, right? So our platform, Arcblock platform, there's the vision is we don't want people reinvent the wheel again. We want to build a few wheels there. So if you want to build up your own cars, you just pick up some wheels that you want, right? And those wheels, you can also customize them. There's a bunch of choices that you can pick from, but you don't have to rebuild everything from scratch. So for the developers, you just focus on the core features. You don't need to, you just focus on the core features, right? You don't need to rebuild everything from scratch, right?
Yeah, that's the part I like. You don't have to reset the entire thing. Just take the piece that you don't need and then attach whatever tool that you develop. So, and there's a way to monetize the tools that the builders make, because what I like about your platform is it really does focus on incentivizing the builder to build, because at the same time, let's say if the builder creates a really good tool, and that tool is being downloaded from your dApp store, that's just another piece that's a lot better than, let's say only Google and Apple Store, because Google and Apple Store, they basically take a percentage out of you because you're running on their monopoly stores. But now with more dApp stores developing like Arcblock, and it has like a lot of these other tools that we could use, these are just new ways for adoption. It's a better way to customize where you could be. right now, Apple and Google dominate the market, so, and there's no other place. But, Arcblock has something where you could start building your own dApps there and have your own sort of listings based on whatever tool that you develop, because it goes in sections too, the way your store works, right? The wallet,
Yeah.
the browser and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So I always want to point out that the store, the block store that we build itself is also decentralized. There's a very key differentiation from the block store to the Apple's App Store and Google's Play Store. So Blocklet Store is not yet another store that running by Arcblock. So Blocklet Store is actually an infrastructure that anybody can take advantage of. Right? For example, MYC can run your own Blocklet store. You can have your own applications or any curated applications that you want to suggest for your community, or you can make a deal with different vendors of those applications and then put specifically for your store. And so your community member can have a special discount on it, right? So, and also, moreover, a Blocklet store itself can be a service that you get embedded into different applications, right? So this is yet to come, but we are actually right now we're building this. Is when you build application. Imagine, for example, when you build application, building AI applications, right? So this is the most popular one. When we build when a developer is building AI applications, so there's a lot of plugins that need to build into these AI applications. For example, everybody knows the ChatGPT. ChatGPT have that plugin, and they have to build the plugin stores, right? So but for the OpenAI, they have a lot of resources. They can rebuild this kind of plugin stores, and this plugin store is not comparable to Apple App Store or Google Play Store. It's very, very simple. But for usual developers, if you have a great idea and you want to open up this plugin, how could you build this store infrastructure, right? So now with our Arcblock architect, you can simply include the Blocklet store into the application. And then your application itself going to have a plugin store. This plugin store serves exactly like the store that you have for your plugin, but you don't need to build anything, right? Because the whole thing has been included, has been built as a Blocklet store. So actually, in fact, the Blocklet store and the layer of the Blocklet store is an NFT store. Is anything that you can is a store that sells for any NFT, because a Blocklet ownership of Blocklet is actually an ownership of an NFT. So that NFT is a proof that you own this Blocklet, right? So there's no difference. Technically, there's no difference when you say I own this kind of NFT of a JPEG, then that you own an NFT of a Blocklet, which is a software license, right? So the whole thing in our Block platform, we try to kind of unify the whole thing, because everything is represented as an NFT. So there's an NFT that represents your own. You are the owner of certain software. It represents that your ownership of certain account. It also represents that your ownership of a software license, or your owner of a software. Who, for example, you're a creator of this software. Mm-hmm. And then that makes the whole thing easy, because if I want to give you, imagine right now, I want to give you access to my personal website. All I need to do is I just send you an NFT, because once I send you an NFT, that NFT is served as a pass to my website. Right? I can even completely send my own website to you. For example, I can help you to build your website. I grab all of stuff, write the code, composing different things together, and then eventually I want to give that to you. In the past, what to do? In the past, you have to install it on your own servers. And then there's a kind of a lot of security issues. But now it's very easy. I just give the NFT represent this kind of this server to you, and then you get it, right? Yeah. So the Blocklet store is the vision of the Blocklet store is way bigger than it appeared to be, and we make this kind of a store architect completely reusable.
It's like a new landscape. In the future, you're going to have more and more places to list your applications. So, for new landscape to be there for the taking, a lot of new people are going to be there building. And that's going to be another spot that you're not going to have to pay that same percentage that you got to pay for commission to Apple and Google just to operate on that app store. You know, if you're working or you're doing something off of, let's say, Arcblock's infrastructure, then you're going to be saving whatever the percentage that they're charging you, depending on whatever tier that you're at. So this is going to be another way that, you know, Arcblock's going to be competing with a lot larger companies, I would say. So I remember, you know, what's the story with Mockzilla? You know, a lot of people always ask me about that. You know, what was your take on that you got the recommendation with W3C? Can you tell us?
So sorry, can you repeat the question?
You remember how, like, W3C, I think it was, that they had your DID recommendation?
Okay. So for the, I honestly, I don't want to take others kind of a work because we are, first of all, we're lucky that we, so when in year 2019, where we think we really need a decentralized identity, we really need a decentralized identity solutions. I look out what's in the market, and I found there's OpenID, there's a WebID, there's called an IndiID, and also there's this called a W3C DID. And after I did some research, I found that none of them at that moment are the standard at that point. All of them, they're in the draft mode or very beginning. But I think I like the W3C DID the best. And also DID is very, very new at that moment. So, you know, so the way to join the W3C is actually, it sounds like a scary name, but actually W3C is a very democratic community organization. So in these organizations is all about if you have technology, if you can build, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very easy to join. As long as you can build something, you can join. You can propose something, you can join something. So basically, I liked the idea of the W3C DID, and then we decided to pick this direction as how to implement our own decentralized identity. And also W3C DID is very open-minded, so it's not trying to kind of build one solution that rules them all. I think this is amazing, because if you look at the other decentralized identity, so they want to say, hey, we want to build a decentralized identity, but you have to unify everything to one, right? Which is centralized, right? How could you build a decentralized identity and itself is centralized? So the W3C DID have this kind of concept that is, so we have multiple people that are building this protocol, and all we need to agree is we agree some kind of very basic protocols that we all agree, right? But then when you build each of your own method, right? You can build your own method, and then that's how, you know, Arcblock, we have the DID ABT as a you know, official method registered. When we have this DID ABT, there's only around like 10 or less than 15 different methods. But right now, I think it's probably 60 or maybe 100 different methods, because everybody want to, well, especially after they become the standard, everybody want to rush in. But we actually participated since 19. But honestly, I think there's a lot of other companies are building on the DID. A lot of them are not blockchain related companies. It's quite interesting. So last year, when the DID became the standard, you suddenly see a lot of projects who claim themselves to be DID, and they just use a name. But a lot of people who really dedicate to work a lot on the decentralized identity community, they didn't, right? So I see somebody is sending some message, and is that a question or something? It's just flashed by, so I didn't see it.
No, they're just people, you know, commenting and hurrahing for you. But no, I always want to, like, give, you know, people more of an overview about Arcblock, because, you know, there's a lot more to just, oh, it's just a token. You know, there's so much more to this technology besides just a token. So it's always good to do a little bit more research on, you know, what makes something special, or what software is behind, you know, the token. It's always about some sort of something.
Yeah, I think this is actually the most challenging thing and the most important thing for myself. As I mentioned last time when we do the experiment podcast, I said this is my single most important thing. Is I want to because we build this amazing platform. Now it's time for us, for me, and for our team to demonstrate how powerful it is. What you can build that for. It's not the easy thing just because we build a lot of things. It's just because we build a lot of stuff, right? Compared to Ethereum, is only a blockchain that supports smart contract. It didn't care about any. It didn't do a lot of stuff. It's not a full application platform, right? But Arcblock is a application platform. We focused on from building how to build that software, and we also help developers to deploying how to deploy. Because there's a lot of frameworks that just help you to build, but they don't care how to deploy, right? I think you understand right now, right? Somebody just built this software for you. In the beginning, you might think, great, I have the software. Now you find you need to operate it, right? You need to have servers.
You have to make your own sort of extra smart contract in order for a tool. You need to start making more pieces to things that need to interoperate with your application. And
yeah, you need a million things to operate it, to deploy, to operate. So Arcblock try to help developers to build, deploy, and operate. So that's like the 3 steps we want to do. We want to help the developers to do. We help them to do all of them. So that's a lot of work. So to build this is a lot of work, and to get everything up and running, that's also a lot of work. So so it takes me time to explain what we can do and how we do it.
One thing I do want to put out there too is like pretty much any project on any blockchain could utilize the technology you have when it comes to building whatever type of applications they need too. So it's not so much a chain thing that see, that's what I like about what your services are with this software. Like, it doesn't take only you being on Arcblock. Multiple blockchains could take advantage of what you have when it comes to building whatever they need in order to create the transactions they need to have. A lot of that stuff is based on growth. Today, maybe you have a simple, single stream revenue or whatever. What if you need to split up, the way things are sold or bought? There's a lot of things that you have to do when it comes to customizing the way you're going to interoperate those and the applications that you build. And that's just based on whatever use case people come up with. So you have to have that customizability when it comes to, trying to build outside of, whatever your blockchain is. You still need some sort of tools to do other things, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you see, so I think that it's honestly, so why Arcblock, building very specific blockchains ourselves, that is actually a sad story. Honestly, that's a sad story, because in the beginning, as I mentioned the story, in the beginning, Arcblock are not planning to build anything on the blockchain side, because we only want to focus on the application, right? We just want to build an application framework. So on the day one, we have this open chain access. The idea is we're going to support any blockchain. We want to support as much as possible blockchain as possible. So right now, today, our Arcblock platform works with any blockchain, with any Ethereum blockchain, Solana, or any future blockchain, because we're an application platform. Blockchain itself, for us, is just one of the choice for the developers want to run, right? However, when we started, we think Ethereum is going to be, I really like the Ethereum's, vision. So even at that time, Ethereum is very, very slow, and the developer for Ethereum is very painful. I still believed that Ethereum is eventually going to be a high performance and very good choice for the whole system. So that's why our block token was a ERC20 in the beginning. And for a very long time, we didn't plan to build anything related to blockchain itself, because we are thinking, okay, we are growing together with Ethereum. Ethereum will eventually become more and more powerful, and the performance is going to be good. So the Arcblock token itself is really necessary, because this is the medium of exchange.
You already have your own mainnet, So
but eventually, if we're waiting for Ethereum, we're still not be able to use. Right? So today, can you imagine build that on Ethereum? If the Solana is earlier, probably that's going to be work on Solana. If it not considered with the cost of the doing that, because Solana's performance is really good. And but in year 2019, we already have our working platform by the end of year 2018. A lot of people don't know that. The problem is that there are a lot of people using our platform, and in the enterprise, but not a lot of people in the crypto or industry know that we already have working things that is working, right? By the end of 18 December, we already have our open chain access protocol working, supporting Ethereum and support Bitcoin perfectly, but we don't have billing, right? It's because the supposed billing is going to with only Ethereum. So on December, we have the first version of the billing system that will work on the Ethereum, and it takes ERC20 tokens from the customer to kind of deploy the whole service. But guess what? It's super, super, super slow. It's basically not able to use. So that's why in 19, we eventually decided, no, if we're going to waiting forever, that our platform we're going to never be able to be finished, never be able to become useful, because the billing and the exchange and do the billing, all the charging for different services, that's critically important. That's actually how the Arcblock's own mainnet is coming, because we are not planning to build it, but
yeah, I mean, you have to think about things differently when you're being universal. Like, let's say if you're a project that's targeting one niche, then they're targeting that one niche. But Arcblock's more of like this middleware tool where it's interoperable between different blockchains, different ecosystems could utilize it. So there's a lot of different. That's really what I like about the tools that you got.
Yeah. I think the way that I think the way that we build stuff is I really like this called as first principle, right? So we just reuse any platform, any tools that people already built. Don't reinvent the wheels. But when there's something is actually really missing, when something is really not ready, but we absolutely need it, we're going to build it, no matter what it is, right? So blockchain itself, if you want to make the blockchain more specifically for the billing and operation support, is not that complex. Ethereum is very complex. It's because Ethereum want to be a universal smart contract platform. It also need to be Turing complete. It's extremely complex, very hard. But if you look at the Bitcoin is not complex. It's just the idea behind Bitcoin is very, is brilliant, because nobody think you can do that in that way. But if you look at today, can somebody just build another Bitcoin? You don't need a lot of people. You probably need a few engineers, less than 5 engineers within a couple months. You can build something that is comparable to Bitcoin, right? I purely say from the engineering and the technology point of view, right? So I remember in year 2018 and 19, when I come to the conference and the talks, I always use the name for my talk. It's called a blockchain demystified. Right? It's a blockchain is not hard. Blockchain itself is not kind of a mystified like you have to have like a rocket scientist to build it. It's not. No, it's not. A simple blockchain is really simple. A very specific blockchain is also not that hard, right? But if you want to build something that is universal and a general purpose, that's hard, right? Yeah, so that's how we build things. I think this is also going to be in the future when we are building this platform, when we are helping the developer to achieve the goal. If there is something that is missing, we're going to build it, right? So anything that is missing, we're going to build it. Even today we don't have it, we're going to build it.
Yeah, that's what I like about Arcblock, the adaptability. You could customize things on the whim of things. So, I definitely want to use a lot of different things that you guys offer just in general for my own application. There's always something more that I'm trying to do.
I basically, right here, Julian, I want to say sorry for the Twitter Space folks, because I found there's almost nobody on Twitter Space. Basically, because when we are focused on talking about the visually, nobody care about the Twitter Space. So Twitter Space, well, probably in the future, are not going to kind of
they probably like it better when they see a face on the screen, but again, there's going to be more people that watch later, So I wanted to ask you about the AI. I remember the last time we were talking, you said that you were trying to put together a marketing strategy on AI agents. Was there any other strategies that you had going forward to spread awareness about Arcblock's technology?
Yeah, so you are on the right time. So thanks for mentioning this. So today, actually, this is the very first time for anybody other than Arcblock team and Arcblock partners see this. Is I'm going to show you guys our secret AI weapon called Aging, AIGing, right? So I think how do you like this name? Aging. it's AI and an engine, AIGNE.
And what does it do? Can you tell us about what it does?
Unfortunately, you cannot see my screen. So you can open another YouTube tab so you can see my screen. It has I think it has a few second latency, but you will still be able to see my screen. Yeah. So as I mentioned, that we are working on the AI stuff for a while, and so now it's time for. Everybody know that we're actually building one of the secret weapon we call the aging. So the purpose of the aging is a tool, is a prompt engineering tools or the large language model opt tools for anybody to be able to build your AI applications and deploy them and run them. And the best of it is you probably can build a very amazing, powerful AI tools without writing any code, right? So right now I can show you. So this, you can probably see my screen. Oops, you can probably see my screen. Let me see if it is. Yeah, it is. It is. So yeah. So this screen. This is a very ugly screen of the version we haven't finally released yet. But the purpose of this screen is a decentralized platform for the prompt engineer. So let me show you one of the, let me see, agent playground. So as people who already get into the large language model, you probably know that the large language model is a new way to build applications, right? So all you need to do is write prompt, right? But today, most of those tools require you not only write the prompt, you also need to be able to write some code. You need to hook up the things. For example, if you use a popular like LangChain, Lava Index, you have to know how to write code. You have to kind of pull up the library, and then you write the prompt, and then let the AI do things for you. But for Arcblock, what we built this agent is very powerful visual tools for anybody who know how to write the natural language, who can talk to the AI, be able to build applications, right? So for example, right now, I'm showing one of the AI tools. You can see this is part called the prompt. The prompt is the instruction that you tell AI what to do, right? For example, here is a building AI tool called Achieve User Goals. So the idea of this application is if you want to have a goal to achieve, right? You want the AI to help you figure out what is the best way to achieve the goal, right? So let me first test, right? So yeah, so right now I'm on my debug screen. I'm writing my goal. Say I want to be a master of podcast, right? So I write this goal and let AI and see if the AI can help me. So AI basically can give me a bunch of the result I will show you later. So right now the result is basically there's multiple steps. So first of all, the AI helped me to figure out 5 different ways. So to achieve a goal, to be a master of a podcast, it gave me like 5 different ways, right? And then eventually, the AI also helped me evaluate these 5 options. Say it gave the pros and the cons of each of the options, and then eventually it also gave me like a result, the best answer, best option. So this is basically a simple application to let the AI to help you to like it's like a life coach, right? So whatever you want to do, the AI is going to use its knowledge to help you. But look at the left. On the left, this blue box here. So this blue box is a code that all you need to AI to do that for you, right? So you can see it's just very, very simple. It's just a few lines of code. The code is actually not the code. The code is actually natural language, right? So yeah, so based on that, based on this kind of AI gene, so anybody who can speak.
Your channel, by the way. So
yeah, basically anybody can speak. You can use this tool to have a conversation with the AI, and then you turn that conversation into application. So that's aging.
Yeah, so in that case, like anybody that doesn't even have coding abilities or like is not expert, could still create applications by themselves, even from a beginner standpoint. So, and a lot of times what makes it so hard for developers to emerge is because it's hard, or it requires more bandwidth than just one person. So, sometimes that in itself makes it hard, where a lot of builders, don't exist. Where when a tool like yours does exist and it makes it easier to make applications, then that opportunity is for everybody. That's a huge thing for me personally. I love that about Arcblock.
So part of my live streaming, so I'm planning to have more kind of formal record courses to have teach how people creating AI applications use a prompt engineering, prompt technology, right? It's not, you don't need to have any coding background, coding knowledge. All you need is to be able to speak a language, right? No matter it's English, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, it doesn't matter because AI know them all, right? So with these tools, so you have this conversation with the AI, you provide your own, knowledge, your secret of your business, right? Or provide some certain data that you only have, or some your insight, and then you can turn that to train the AI into a new application that do whatever you use them to do, right? You basically, the idea is you can treating AI is very smart and a very smart guy, right? It know a lot of knowledge, and then you can teach them. You can train them. You can give some of the secret to them, and then it turn out to be master whatever you teach them so well, and then that can turn that into application, right? So for anybody who see my messy screen and see all of those, you might get confused. Don't worry. And after I have this course, step by step, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to coach you from the first how you kind of experiment, talk to the AI, just like using ChatGPT, but then have to distill from what you talked to the subtract what you talk to the AI and turn them into something called a prompt, right? And then you'll find that the prompt engineer is completely demystified for the prompt engineer. Anybody can be a great prompt engineer. And as people know that we build the Astro application, which is the AI astrology, we basically teach the astrologists who don't know write any code, who know nothing about computer science, to teach their skills of astrology for the AI, and then turn the AI into a very powerful astrologist, right? So, and we also talk to other people from other industry, from like, for example, from the health industry, from other lawyers, and they were able to use the tools to teach the AI, to let the AI do things for them. So the tool that we build is basically going to democratize the way to use AI. Is not only just the developers who build it, is anybody can use this tool to build the AI. And once you build the AI turn into a blocklet. And then you're going to be able to sell the blocklet or sell the service in the whole Arcblock community, right? Yeah. So that's really amazing. I'm super excited about these tools, and I'm also very excited about this course I'm about to give. And Dean, you make sure that you're going to be AI guru within maybe a couple months. I guarantee you should be.
I'm always looking to grow. I wanna make sure that I can do cool things too. I feel like I've done a lot from where I came from, to where we are now. But still, I think about so much more we can get done, but with the right tools. It is tough to customize different applications because you have to rewrite everything whenever you find a problem. So that's always a bad thing too. When you have something that's customizable on the dime, you're saving a lot of cost and time and I would say a lot of money just to break off the piece you don't need and then attach whatever you need on. There was actually a couple questions that we had, Robert. People were wanting to know like what the marketing strategy is going into 2024.
Yeah, sure. I think before I answer that question, so let me show me one more things. And so that is another part that I call the payment kit, right?
Yeah.
So the payment kit is that is very straightforward. For example, right now, this is the back end of the payment kit. Again, this is a blocklet that anybody can use. As I mentioned, when you build application, when you build a blocklet, right, you want to sell it, how to make money, right? In the past, I think the monetize is a big issue for any developers, right? For any builders. I want to use builders instead of developers, because developers, people instantly thinking you need to write some code, right? But for builders, a lot of people, they're builders. If I'm be able to use AI to build something, build an astrologist, to build a therapist, you don't write any code, but you are actually building real applications, right? And or if you're good at the teaching, right? You create a podcast, you create classes, you didn't write any code, right? But you help the people how to build things. You're a builder, right? And even you are just teaching people how to use this platform, why this platform is valuable. You're actually a builder, right? You're building the audience, you're building the customers, right? So the payment kit is used for any builders to monetize your applications, your service. So from people, if anybody can see my screen, you can see that it's very easy. You can create a different product from a membership to like tips to sell something on per use. With the payment kit, the cool thing of our payment kit is you can not only accept cryptos, and the crypto is not only ABT. You can use that to accept any any blockchain from the Ethereum's, any ERC20 tokens that you want to accept, or you can use Bitcoin, Lightning Network, and also we support Stripe. So any credit cards Stripe can support, you can easily integrate them into that. That is basically to say, whenever you build any application, any service, you're going to have these tools to sell it, to monetize it, right? So that's come back to the marketing strategy that I have for the future. So I really like one of the essays that the program write for his Y Combinators. So this is how we do things, called do things that is not scale, right? That's a very interesting reading. I suggest anybody want to read it, right? We want to do things that is not scale. There's two ways, for example, right now. For example, we're doing these podcasts, right? I think my podcast skill is sucks, right?
This is now. Robert, let me pause you real quick. Mm-hmm. See, what's crazy is like, people, sometimes everybody just got through going through a bear cycle. And now, everyone feels a little bit more momentum, a little bit more good sentiment in the grand scheme of things. But at the end of the day, a lot of people have been through so much time that they forget. It's like there's so many more people coming into the markets now, and the coverage is going to expand from here. You know, before, I would say about 6 months ago, really not that many people on the market. Like, you know, I think the market's about 99% smaller than people think it is right now. So when you actually, you know, see that there's more participation, there's more engagements, there's definitely more audiences coming in, and we're pre-cycle right now. I feel like we're still a little bit of time away, but I think I think everybody has that confirmation that it's coming. So at the end of the day, people shouldn't base performance on what the bear market showed them, because those were the times of typically where, you know, people are maybe collecting tokens, or maybe they're learning about tokens or whatever. If you think about it later on, when you start getting into momentum, you start getting a lot of audiences, people start to gravitate to what's visible. You guys are on Coinbase, a tier 1 exchange. And now with more audiences coming to see you, I think this is going to encourage a lot more builders. And then with you doing podcasts now, I think that's a great idea. I think more admins should do it, because people love seeing the person's face. They like seeing them trying and doing different things. So I think, you know, I think the streams are going to be awesome. I think we should do a lot of streams. You know, I'm pretty open to trying to get anybody out there. I think it's just awesome where people are starting to think this way instead versus, you know, the other ways. Because a lot of people are anonymous. Typically, there's always anonymous devs. You don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, when we talk about the more streaming, so the plan is every week. I definitely try to be every week. We at least have one live stream. And you know, the one good news is for the next week, I already planned. So next Friday, that's November the 10th, 6 p.m. Pacific time. That is 9 p.m. East time and 9 a.m. in China. We're going to have a very interesting special panel discussion. I'm going to be the moderators, but there's a 3 guests. I have Lydia, who is a modern astrologist, and she is a real astrologist. And I'm going to have the Force Society, and people in our community already know him. And I think he's a technologist, right?
He's awesome. No,
he's very awesome. And the third one is AI. It's going to be Astro's AI. So that AI is going to be able to listen and also going to be talk, right? So we're specifically focused on talking about the AI, astrology, and beyond. So that's going to be a very fun discussion, and it's not that much about technology, but I will share some stories and how we get this idea to building this, how we started to help an astrologist to build this idea and build the AI on the Arcblock, and how we turn to when we help to build this astrology application, how we turn to figure out how we build aging, which is the engine behind any of these kind of AI applications, right? Remember that Astro is just one of the application, but aging is an engine that's powerful enough for anybody to build new AI applications. So yeah, so next Friday, and we're going to talk about this. So, Dion, help me. My pronunciation, is Lydia the correct pronunciation for her? Lydia or Lydia?
I think Lydia. Yeah,
Lydia. Right.
She's really nice. Yeah, I think she's perfect. You know,
she's amazing, because when I search about the astrology, I found that she talking about this way beyond, right? She talked this very, very, very early on on the Twitter, that she had the idea, say, what if AI can use for the astrology? And then I approached her, say, hey, actually we are building this with one of the astrologists. And,
what is the name of your application, Robert, for people that are new? Like this is just one of the applications that you built.
Astro, AISTRO, Astro. This is AI and astrology. So that's application built completely on Arcblock platform and with the AI capability, and it's amazing astrology applications. Next Friday. So the real human awesome astrologist and the AI astrologist and the technologist. We're going to discuss this together about how AI can work with astrology. That's a funny topic, right?
You know what I like about what you do is like you're a entrepreneur. I would say you create so many different things, and that's kind of what I like about what your platform is. You're showing people the examples of what they could build. You're showing them the tools that you have, right? And you know
that's exactly those things that is not scale. And before a lot of people adopt Arcblock and building amazing applications, people might think questionable. Hey, can Arcblock can do the real big deal, or can this be real? So okay, I said don't worry. So this is something that we build ourselves, right? If we can build it, you can build it, right? For all of those is going to be all of those applications. That is not the major part. The platform itself and all those applications is going to be open sourced, right? You will see, how the application works, and you can also see the code, how it works. There's no secret here, right? So it might be very slow to picking up. Like 1 year ago, like 2 years ago, if you say, hey, what exact application can our platform run, right? I tell you, hey, you can do this, you can do that, but in theory, you can do that. But all I can show you is a bunch of demo applications that is working, or our own website, which is kind of like simple. But like 1 year ago, I can show you, something that is way more complicated. It's composable. But now I can show you, look, there's a mobile application that is in different platforms. That is can log in with Google, log in with Apple ID, and all while it also works with crypto, and it works with the AI platform to produce a consumer-friendly, consumer-grade applications, right? That basically is a proof for our platform. You can basically build a serious application on top of it.
So these would be large-scale companies that would build apps on top of your store. And the way your model works too is you could buy by the quarter, or like it's like by the first quarter or second quarter, or like it's like a 3 month for the server space. Can you tell us about the serverless space? Because that's part of the model too, where that's where the utility comes from too, right? When you're building the apps, because you get your own server space to build.
So you can see for the application to run the application, there's many different models, right? For any user, you probably don't need any server space. All you need is some storage space. So that's how data space come in. The data space is something like a decentralized iCloud, but it's more powerful than iCloud, right? But for developers who want to run your own server, you want to run some application by yourself, you want to completely control your own service, like for example your blog or your personal website, you can have a block-like space, which is like a serverless computing resource that you can it's act exactly like a full functional application, full functional website. But if you are building like a service, right? Imagine you're building a service. You want to have like tens of thousands or even millions of users coming to your service. You can have the dedicated space, which is actually a blocklet server, maybe many different blocklet servers. So this is basically like a different tiers for the user, from the end users to a small developers to a more kind of serious developers. You can have all those options.
What do you think? What do you think is going to attract people to come build on Arcblock? Or what do you think is going to get more eyeballs to Arcblock about, because I know the technology is good, but how are we going to spread awareness? So we're going to be spreading awareness through, you're going to be doing podcasts. Is this going to be weekly, or what's the schedule?
The podcast is going to be weekly, but at least it's going to be weekly. And, I could do the daily, but,
that's crazy.
Daily, but I'm going to do the weekly talk, but I'm going to do this live coding, the live coding. So on each week, there are definitely going to be multiple live stream. But live coding, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just coding, and you can watch me code from my screen to see what I'm doing, right? So I'm going to do some kind of recorded, for example, for the courses, for any of those courses. It's going to, because if I'm teaching how to write AI applications with a prompt, with no code, it need a better preparation for me to explain so everybody know exactly what's going on. You be able to follow, right? So it's going to be, as I mentioned, I'm going to be 3 different format.
So let's say if somebody was trying to start a project or start some sort of business tool or whatever the case, or build anything, they could listen in on your podcast, and based on the way Arcblock's tech works, keep in mind you could still code without even knowing code. Like whenever you're describing what you want to the computer, it'll build out what you want.
They're going to build it. I think I think for the strategy, one of the important strategy is I really want to take advantage of the wave of the AI, because even though Arcblock platform can be used to build many different type of applications, but in this phase of the marketing, we're going to very much focus on the AI applications. There's a number of reasons. First of all, AI is very popular. If you're building AI applications, more likely you're going to gain the traction. So that's for the developers. If you want to build something, right, you want to gain the traction, you want to make money, right? So what's the best? You build something which is the most popular, right? So right now, if you do a startup, definitely you should try AI, right? So a couple of months ago, you probably definitely should consider Web3. But today, I think if you want to build a new startup, definitely something that is related to AI, right? So we're going to help the developer build the AI, right? The second is, so our platform to use the AI is really a game-changing thing, because you no longer need to write any code. So that's also exposed to the value of the Blocklet platform. Because if you're building something with these AI tools, even you don't write code, you're going to have a lot of very cool things, from the NFT to the discussion to the cool website to a lot of things that is just ready for you. You can just immediately turn them together into a full application, right? The third is a way to monetize. Right? You can immediately, today, if you are, for example, you can learn something, so how to use OpenAI to write a program, but how to monetize, you don't know, right? There's a million other things to help you monetize. With this, I guarantee that if you have some idea that you can talk with the AI, like just chatted with ChatGPT, you're going to be able to turn them into application, and then this application going to be able to sell immediately on the platform. So yeah, that is something that I think that's a strategy. Is I'm going to demonstrate. We're going to help people do that. Eventually, I believe a few of the applications probably going to stand out. So that's a way.
I think that a lot of people miss this point too, because it's like you're taking the time to actually help other people build in a way where they could learn how to use the tool the most efficient way and have their own, let's say if they need to build an NFT project, they could get it done a lot faster with yours or whatever the case. Because a lot of people are hands-on, I think the perfect incentive is having your own thing too. Because whenever a project exists, typically it's always in solidarity by itself. But, when you have a project that has a community that's also helping other people build, with the tools that they could create or the tools that they could use, that's a bigger deal to me.
Yeah, that's very cool, right? I'm super excited. So, so I think so today, I think is pretty much, today is already over, 60 minutes. And, next Friday, we're going to have this interesting talk. And,
What time on Friday did you want to do it?
Next Friday, that's 6 p.m. It's going to 6 p.m. We're going to have that conversation on the astrology and AI. Awesome.
All right. Well, Robert, it's awesome talking to you again. We're still, supporting you. I still talk about Arcblock all the time. It's always awesome to actually catch up with you. So thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your time, and thanks for your support. And let's do something together. Let's build something together.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're gonna get something done.
Yeah, cool. All right, bye. Thank you.